My name is Michael Voss, and I'm the residential supervisor manager here at Wedgwood.
Wonderful. So how long have you been with Wedgwood?
Wow. Next month, it'll be 24 years since I've been here. I actually started off in our recovery program, which was at that time a secure boys substance abuse treatment or a co-occurring treatment program. We were located on the Pinehurst campus at that time.
Okay, so you started working in residential,
yes,
and now you're in more of an administrative role. Kind
yes.
of what does that journey look like?
Well, in the beginning, it was directly working with the kids. Then it progressed to working to help develop the staff, and now I'm working more on a higher level as far as working with the staff, but helping to develop programming more and things of that nature.
Nice. So I guess you talked about this a little bit, but so your past experience kind of drew you into this sort of social work type field.
Yes.
But what brought you to Wedgwood specifically?
Well, that's an interesting story. I'm also a graduate of Western Michigan Teen Challenge, a proud graduate of Western Michigan Teen Challenge. And I remember one night I was working on the phone, sort of like a helpline, support line, folks calling from all over the country. And I got a call from a young lady who I found out later was a former employee of Wedgwood, but she was looking for one of our staff members. He wasn't there, so she and I engaged in a conversation. And she asked me, she said, well, I believe God is leading me to pray with you. And so we prayed, and she then told me that she believed that God wanted me to apply for a job here. And long story short, she gave me a couple of names. I wrote them down. The next morning, I came back into the staff office at Teen Challenge, and there was a postcard on the counter, and it was addressed to a Michael, no last name, just first name. I turned it over, and it said, "Don't miss your chance to work in a wonderful Christian organization." And immediately, Holy Spirit spoke to me and reminded me of the conversation I had the night before. And so I went and got the phone numbers, and I called up, and one thing led to the next, and I got a call, and I remembered months before, and I had totally forgot about it. I came home with a student, gave him some personal time with his wife, and my fiance at the time. She and I took a walk down Schaefer, and we walked past Wedgwood, and I seen the kids and staff outside playing, and I said, you know what, man, I bet that's an awesome place to work. And I remember saying to myself at that particular time, Lord, I don't want to work for anyone else in my career but you. And little did I know that I'd get that phone call some months later, and Holy Spirit brought that to my remembrance too, that you walked past that place. And one thing led to the next, and I've been here ever since.
It's incredible. What an incredible story. Mm-hmm. We're glad you listened and that you're here.
Yeah.
So what motivates you to keep doing this kind of work, and what keeps you going? I know it's not always a very easy job, especially in the residential type setting. So what keeps you going?
Well, my road to get here is a little different from I would say the average staff. I was actually a corrections officer in Illinois. I worked at Stateville Correctional Center in Joliet, Illinois for 10 years. And there they housed some of the most aggressive inmates in the state, and even had the death house there where they conducted executions. And I worked in the death house for about 16 months. I couldn't see very much in helping the guys that I was working with at that time, guys with 1,600-year sentences, double natural life sentences, guys who weren't going to see the street again. And so I really wanted to help people. And I thought about transferring to our juvenile division, but I didn't. And so coming here, I wanted to I wanted to be involved in some intervention and prevention and intervening to, where the kids are right now, and also helping them to prevent from becoming the inmates, the convicts, the drug addicts of the future.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I'm here. So it's easier than what I used to do,
Mm-hmm.
as far as being in that prison, but it has its challenges. It has different challenges, but that's my motivation, to try to help the kids to turn their lives around right now,
Mm-hmm.
before it gets too far.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What a powerful thing to be able to share with them. I've seen worst case scenario, and you don't have to do that.
Right. Exactly.
So, I guess you've talked, God clearly has been in your journey to get to Wedgwood, but how do you see God working here at Wedgwood in the lives of the kids, and maybe even some of the lives of the staff that you work with?
Yeah, just hearing the horror stories of the neglect and abuse that kids have experienced. And I remember thinking about our younger clients, the 8-year-olds and 9-year-olds, and just thinking about their experience being in a residential program. I caught myself thinking, what a shame, of course, it is for them to be in a residential home, but thank God there's a place like Wedgwood where they can come to and don't have to concern themselves or worry about being hurt, being abused, neglected, that they're around people who sincerely and genuinely care about them, and they're in a clean and safe environment, and a healthy environment, and so, yeah.
So God providing a place for them is really impactful.
Exactly. And, funny thing, I was in a team meeting last week in the Zondervan home, and we were conducting our regular conversations concerning clients and their treatment and their progress and where they are and different things like that. And we ran out of time, and the kids were returning from school. And so we went from discussing individual clients to the staff turning on a dime and welcoming the kids back from school, the kids showing the staff their point sheets from the day. And it was like a family type situation where the staff were loving on the kids, and the kids were just excited to share their scores of the day and, what was going to happen the rest of the evening. And so as I sat back and just watched that, I don't know if anyone else caught it, but I did. And just how the staff just transitioned, from being in the meeting to focusing on the kids and loving on the kids.
Oh, that's beautiful. And I love that the kids had something that they wanted to share, they were proud of, and they knew the staff would be proud of them too.
Yeah. Oh,
that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
So is there a kid whose story has stuck with you over your 24 years?
It's too many to recall. There's some stories, some interactions I've had with kids that would just rip at your heart, and as they describe their trauma. I learned a lot about trauma, or learning a lot about trauma and how it can occur, and the different faces of trauma. But on a more positive note, I've shared the story a few times. There was my wife and I were downtown at a festival in Grand Rapids, and we were at some fast food stand or whatever, and I was talking to my wife, and there was a guy behind me, and I heard him say, "Mike Voss, is that you? I know that voice anywhere." I turned around, and it was a man who, he was in our program about 15, 16, 17 years ago. And he's a grown man now, hair on his face. I can still see that kid here. Mm-hmm. And my wife knows when I engage in conversations like that in public, it's usually related to the job. And so she knows how to give me space so I can interact with the folks and things. And so he said, "Mike, wait right here. I'll be right back." And I'm just amazed because he's a grown man now, so I'm thinking, oh my God, I feel old. And so he took off and he came back and he had this woman with him and 2 kids. And he said, honey, this is the guy I was telling you about. This is Mike. And I'm about to get emotional. And he introduced me to his kids and his wife. And he was one of our most troubled kids from Detroit. But he settled here in Grand Rapids now and had a job, had a family. And just to see that, and I often tell the staff that God has given us, and as all believers, the ministry of reconciliation. And that's what we're doing here. We're planting seeds and watering seeds, and sometimes the increase doesn't come the way we want it or when we want it, but we have to trust God in the process, in the role that He's given us, as far as planting the seed and watering the seed, and every now and then He'll give us a glimpse at the germination process. What's going on while the kids are still here. We'll see some change, but it was just a blessing to see that kid and his wife and everything, and I want that for all of Wedgwood staff, to get an opportunity to see the results of their hard work, with the kids, because the staff work really hard with the kids here. And, as there's a lot of patience that's required. And, what's happened in the kids' lives aren't going to change overnight. It takes time, it takes a lot of patience.
Mm-hmm. Well, and how cool that you got to see a generational impact. Like, that kid was a healthy adult with a family who he could be a healthy adult for. Yeah. That's, so impactful. Just a good reminder that, you're impacting the future, not just, the life of the kid currently.
Absolutely.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
So how have you seen the needs of the kids and how the organization is responding to those needs change over your time here?
Oh my goodness. It's as far as the severity of the neglect and abuse, it's gotten worse. Especially I wouldn't necessarily say especially, but in working in the substance abuse field, which I've only done since I've been here at Wedgwood, with the exception of the position that I'm in now, you see the trends as far as the substance use and the different substances and combinations that kids are using. And I often say that the clients are our best teachers as far as what's going on out there in the streets. And, again, the different combinations of substances. And another thing, the age of the kids, as far as what they're using, the age that they start using. And it's amazing to see a 12-year-old kid who's experimented with some of the more harder substances, and actually have discovered the high and know how to seek it and how to use the substances. Yet they're so intellectually and developmentally still growing, and how the substance just comes in and hijacks the process, so that's one way that I've seen things change here over the years, just the severity of the abuse, neglect, and the age at which the kids are coming into the system. And
heartbreaking. So what is something about the kids in Wedgwood's care that you think would surprise people?
That's a tough question. That they're just kids. They're just kids. And, our staff are more than just staff here. Our kids are more than just clients here. They're kids. And we do play sort of like a parental role in our kids' lives, and sort of pseudo parenting family dynamics. Some are uncles, aunts, cousins, brother, sister, depending on their age and how the clients receive them. but they're simply kids.
Mm-hmm.
We take our kids out on activities and different things like that. I remember we used to take our kids to Cedar Point
Mm-hmm.
every year. That was the highlight or the most awesome activity of our year
Mm-hmm.
for our kids, and for kids who've never been to an amusement park, have never rode a roller coaster. Just some of the simple things. I remember a group of us taking kids to Lake Michigan. How some of our kids, the furthest that they've been away from home is when they came here.
Mm.
And so some of our kids have never seen the lake, have never seen the sunset on the lake. And, I remember, all of those situations and just the expression and just the priceless response of the kids when they experience the roller coaster, or, we're going to be here all day doing this,
Mm-hmm.
or, going to the beach and watching the sunset in the lake or at the lake, and just the sun appearing to drop off in the lake for the first time. Just amazing, amazing stuff. So I think people would be amazed to know that our kids are just kids.
Mm-hmm.
They're just kids.
Even despite all of the hardship and trauma they've gone through, they're still a child.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A great reminder. How do you see faith making an impact in the treatment we provide?
Honestly, I can't see any other way to do it. And, I remind myself of what the Apostle Paul said. He said that he became all things for all men in order that some may be saved. And so we don't force religion or spirituality on kids, or even our personal relationship. Paul also said that we're living epistles being read by men daily. And so I believe that, in the book of First John, it speaks about that God is love, and working with the kids and some of their complexities and the patience it requires. I know personally for me that I need God to help me, to give me insight, to help me to practice patience, to help me to see beyond what's on the surface, and remember that this individual is someone that Jesus Christ died for,
Mm-hmm.
and a potential candidate for eternal life.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the way that I see it. And also, I try to partner with God as far as the work that I do with the kids, the work that I do with staff here, and just welcoming him into my everyday in this place and what I do here. And I know that in my past experiences, being partnered with God as far as different things I'm involved with, I have much better results when I partner with him than I do when I go out on my own. So I appreciate, working in for an agency that is distinctively Christian, but strives to be professionally competent, and just to be able to pray with my coworkers and having devotions. Oftentimes folks say that the hardest thing for them to do when they leave Wedgwood is leaving their coworkers.
Mm-hmm.
And I discovered, in my opinion, one of the reasons why is because we connect in the spirit with each other, and it's not just on the surface.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a pretty strong bond
Mm-hmm.
when you connect with people in the spirit.
Yeah, makes the work more meaningful.
It does.
Yeah, that's beautiful. What is your favorite piece of advice or wisdom to share with staff members?
Well, we have folks who are plugged in spiritually here. And one bit of advice that one of my supervisors gave me when I first started here, he said, "Mike, you know who the answer to the problem is? You need to learn more about the problem." And so creating a balance in increasing our competency concerning the disorders and what the kids are dealing with, as well as undergirding that, or having that established on the foundation of the gospel is
Mm-hmm.
really important. So just continuing to educate ourselves concerning the disorders and what kids are actually going through is really important.
Mm-hmm. Understand why they're using.
Exactly.
Because it's not always the same.
No. Understanding, again, those disorders is really important.
So our last question, what brings you joy?
What brings me joy? Knowing that, or striving to do what I believe God is leading me to do. Because we have experienced some unfortunate situations here, or with clients who have left our care. And I've often reflected on, did I do everything I was supposed to do? Did I say everything that I was supposed to say? And so I encourage our staff to have at least in their programs, at least 2 good conversations with kids a day, different kids, at least 2. I believe in doing that. We've done a lot. And I try to leave work, I try to leave Wedgwood with no regrets, meaning that if I was prompted to say something, to do something, to just hang out with one of the kids, that I'm being sensitive to do that, because I don't want to leave here with any regrets that I didn't do what I should have done. So simply being in step with God and hanging out with the kids and loving on them, treating them like people, like kids, and just having fun and, being there with them through the tough times and just being there, that truly brings me joy. It does.
That's beautiful. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for sharing your story and sharing your heart here at Wedgwood. It's very obvious how much you care about the work that you do here and the work that Wedgwood is doing. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
For sharing us.
Yep.